Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnupad Purnamam Sukadi Prajapacharya Shrotra Sukhi Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Raj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Nama Charja Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadip Dham ki jai. Jagannath Puri ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Jamuna Mai ki jai. Tulsi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande.
Welcome everybody to Srimad Bhagavatam reading, His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami. It is Monday, February 16th, 2026. We are beginning with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 25, Text 53.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 425-53, if I'm not wrong, concerning King Puranjana. And we're at Iskon Dwarka, Delhi. Niritir nama paschad dvas taya yati Puranjanaha. Vaishasam nama vishayam lubtakena samanvitaha. Another gate on the western side was known as Niriti. Puranjana used to go through this gate to the place known as Vaishasa, accompanied by his friend Lubtaka. Purport: this is a reference to the rectum. The rectum is supposed to be situated on the western side of the eyes, nose, and ears. This gate is especially meant for death. When an ordinary living entity abandons his present body, he passes through the rectum. It is therefore painful. When one is called by nature to evacuate, one also experiences pain. The friend of the living entity who accompanies him through this gate is named Lubtaka, which means greed. Due to our greed, we eat unnecessarily, and such gluttony causes pain at the time of evacuation. The conclusion is that the living entity feels well if he evacuates properly. This gate is known as Niriti, or the painful gate. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Bhagavati Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kodamayyam Dadati Shapalantikam Vande Hans Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakama Shri Guru Vaishnavascha Shri Rupam Swarujatam Shahagana Raghunathan Vitam Stam Sujivam Sadvaitam Svavatutam Pradijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padam Shahagana Lolita Sri Vishakhan Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwavamsujay Devi Pranamami Puri Priya Vanchako Patirupyascha Kripa Sindhu Pyecha Ditanam Bhavinebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama. Nard Muni is telling King Prachiniparhi an allegorical story about King Puranjana, who's the master of the city of 9 gates. And here those gates are being described one by one. This is the Niriti gate. Niriti gate refers to the rectum, which it's a painful place when the living entity eats excessively, being controlled by the tongue. What is that? Yada tada vidyad satvamut ityuta. Let's see.
सर्वद्वारेषु देहेऽस्मिन् प्रकाशो जायते सर्वद्वारेषु देहेऽस्मिन् प्रकाशो
Yes.
जायते.
Where's that?
14.11.
14:29.
14.11.
14.11.
Yeah.
Sarvadwareshu dehesmin prakashu pajayate. Jnanam yada tada vidyad vividham satvamityuta. This is the description of Sattvaguna. When Sattvaguna is prominent, Sarvadwareshu dehesmin, then all of the gates of the body, prakashu pajayate, they're illuminated, it says. Jnanam yada, by knowledge. When we don't have knowledge, then the eyes don't see straight, the ears don't hear right. None of the knowledge gathering senses work properly. And the active senses also don't work properly. Yes, we see that. A person who's drunk, his legs don't work properly, his hands don't work properly. And here we see that the person who's in passion, the rectum also doesn't work properly. He's eating all luxurious food and eating too much. And what does that passion means? In the beginning, it's great, but later, suffering. So later, at the time of evacuation, he feels pain. He got some pleasure by eating to satisfy his tongue. The tongue is satisfied, but the rectum is not very satisfied. Because he's acting in passion. Lobha pravittir arambha karanam ashamaspriha. Rajasyetani jayante pravite paratarsha. When Rajaguna is prominent, then there's lobha, greed, and also intense endeavor. along with hopes and dreams and so on. So King Puranjana used to allegorically travel through this gate with his greedy friend. Okay, any questions? Oh, and Prabhupada also mentions that the materialistic person at the time of death passes through that same gate. All right, any questions, comments? Okay,
Mataji has a question.
yes.
The the word is Vaisham, that he go through this gate to the place known as Vaishas. So what is that Vaishas?
Chakravarti Thakur comments, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that it means slaughter, or that Vaishasam means literally slaughter, and it refers to excretion. That's his comment. And he says, well, Niriti, destruction, is the anus, since it's the gate of death. Vaishasam, slaughter, means excretion. The organ is called lubtaka, greedy, because the pain endured to attain fortune is similar to the pain of excreting. That's the same thing. Ashama spriha. What is that? I mean, same verse we were just reading, 12, 14, 12. Yeah. Karmanam ashama spriha. Pravritti or arambha. In passion, there's all this endeavor and achievement, and but it leads to pain. Love life also leads to pain. There's so many songs, of woe and lamentation, the blues, as we say, the rest. It's all about love. My girl left me and I'm feeling so lonely and blah, 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 blah. So that's passion. He was trying to enjoy and now he's depressed. What is that? Disappeared. In the beginning, Amritod Bhavam. Happiness, which is like nectar in the beginning and poison at the end. Indriyasya arte. No. That's a different verse. Anyway, that's passion, motive. Happiness and the mode of passion. It's like nectar in the beginning and poison.
Vishayendriya samyoga.
Vishayendriya samyoga yat tadagre mritopama. Pariname vishamiva tatsukam. Rajasam smritam. Vishaya indriya samyogat. Vishaya means objects of sense enjoyment. And indriya means the senses. And samyoga means coming together. And especially sex. That's the samyoga, complete, what's the word? Coming together of the senses and the sense objects. The pinnacle of that is sex, which yatara agre mritopam. The beginning is just like nectar. And parinam visham, at the end it's like poison. Parinam visham. Okay. Anything else? Yes.
We understand the Jiva Vega as the desire to eat more and more good palatable food. What do we mean by Udara Vega?
Udara Vega. The Udara Vega, what's the difference between Jiva Vega and Udara Vega? Jiva wants palatable food, and Udara, what's its story? Udara Vega, it just wants more. Not for the tongue, it's taste. For the belly, it's fill me up more. Just more. Not a question of taste. It's a question of we want more in there. Although the Ayurveda says half. If you could take, a pound of food, then take half a pound. But the belly says no, more. It's just not enough. It's just the doctors have gone into it. There's various chemicals that are released, and there's a desire to eat more. It may taste nice. It may not taste very nice, but he wants more. That's Udara Vega. I've already eaten enough, but still I want to eat more. That's Udara Vega. Okay. Andhav amisham pauranam nirvakt peshas kritav upau akshandatam aripatis tabhyam yati karoticha. Of the many inhabitants of this city, there are two persons named Nirvak and Peshaskrit. Although King Puranjana was the ruler of citizens who possessed eyes, he unfortunately used to associate with these blind men. Accompanied by them, he used to go here and there and perform various activities. This is a reference to the arms and legs of the living entity. The two legs do not speak, Nirvak, and they are blind. If a person simply trusts his legs to take him walking, he's likely to fall into a hole or bump into something. Thus, led by the blind legs, one's life may be placed in jeopardy. Of the senses that are working, the hands and legs are very important, but they have no eyes to see. This means that in the hands and legs there are no holes. In the head there are many holes, 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth. But lower down in the arms and legs there are no holes. Consequently, the arms and legs have been described as anta, blind. Although the living entity has many holes in his body, he nonetheless has to work with his hands and arms. Although the living entity is the master of many other senses, when he has to go somewhere to do something or touch something, he has to use his blind legs and hands. Okay. Any questions about this? Okay. The blind senses, the working senses here have no ability to see or to speak. They can walk, but that's it. And in the spiritual world, Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Vrittimanti, any of the senses can do everything. You can see with your hands, you can do everything. Okay. Sayarhyantapura gato Vishuchi na samanvitaha Moham prasadam harsham va Yati Jayatmajodbhavam. Some water. Some water would be appreciated. Sometimes he used to go to his private home with one of his chief servants, the mind, who was named Vishuchina. At that time, illusion, satisfaction, and happiness used to be produced from his wife and children. Atmaja, Jayatmaja, Jaya Atmaja. Someone like to read this?
Sometime
According to the Vedic conclusion.
According to the Vedic conclusion, oneself is situated within the heart. As stated in the Vedic language, Hridayam Atma Pratistitaha. The
Hold on
self
just
is,
one second. Can you hear online?
Yes.
Okay, carry on.
the self is situated within the heart. In the material condition, however, the spirit soul is covered by the material qualities, namely goodness, passion, and darkness. And within the heart, these three qualities react. For instance, when one is in goodness, he feels happiness. When one is in passion, he feels satisfaction through material enjoyment. And when one is in darkness, he feels bewilderment. All these activities are of the mind and they function on the platform of thinking, feeling, and willing. When the living entity is encircled by wife, children, and home, he acts on the mental plane. Sometimes he is very happy, sometimes he is very much satisfied, sometimes he is not satisfied, and sometimes he is bewildered. Bewilderment is called moha, illusion. Illusion by society, friendship, and love. The living entity thinks that his so called society, friendship, and love, nationality, community, etc., will give him protection. He does not know that after death he will be thrown into the hands of a very strong material nature that will force him to accept a certain type of body according to his present work. This body may not even be a human body. Thus, the living entity feeling of security in this life, in the midst of society, wife, and friendship is nothing but illusion. All living entity engaged in various material bodies are illusioned by present activities of material enjoyment. They forget their real business, which is to go back home, back to God. Everyone who is not in Krishna consciousness must be considered to be in illusion. One so called feeling of happiness and satisfaction resulting from material things are also illusions. Factually, neither society, friendship, love, nor anything else can save one from the onslaught of the external energy, which is symptomized by birth, death, old age, and disease. To get even one living entity out of illusory condition is very difficult. Therefore, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 7.14, दैवी ऐसा गुणमयी मम माया दुरत्तया मम एव ये प्रपद्यन्ते मायामितं तरन्ति ते. This divine energy of mind, consisting of three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Therefore, unless one surrenders completely at the lotus feet of Krishna, he cannot get out of the entanglement of three modes of material nature.
Antapur, his private home, or sometimes Antapur means the inner
chamber.
chambers of the home where the wife stays. The man has the outer part where he meets people, does his business, and the inner part is wife, family. So, Vishuchina Samanvita. he used to go there with his mind. What is that? Sankalpa Prabhavan Karma. Elsewhere, Manogatan. Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Partha Manogata. All material desires basically come from the mind. Someplace it said the mind can make heaven of hell and hell of heaven. You may have the best of everything, but if the mind is disturbed, you can't enjoy. Because the mind is the center of enjoyment. The mind is the center of everything. So and especially the center of mental concoction. So one is concocting false ideas of love and happiness, especially in the mode of passion. In goodness, one feels satisfied. This is goodness, Brahminical quality. Maharaj Yudhisthira says in the section of Bhagavatam that you're reading, I think 725, that in Brahminical life, one feels satisfied. All right, whatever I got, that's okay. Otherwise, he's not a Brahmin if he's restless, dissatisfied. But in passion, it's always we want more enjoyment. And in ignorance, there's stupidity and illusion. These three modes are there. And according to the mind is conditioned more by passion or more by goodness, more by ignorance, according to the association that the mind has picked up. And this family happiness is more or less a product of the mind. Prabhupada said the family members are legitimate burglars. If someone steals from your house, you call the police. But when your wife takes all your money, you feel, yes, she loves me. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Antapur is the heart, and Vishushi, the mind, means wandering everywhere. Illusion arises from tamas, satisfaction from sattva, joy from rajas. His wife was the intelligence throughout this allegory. The wife of King Puranjana is the intelligence. And the children were objects of intelligence, such as generalizing, particularizing, ascertaining, and realizing. These are all things that we do with our intelligence. We discriminate, we generalize, we say, well, mango trees are like this, or governments are like that. We form general categories. And we can also make out particulars. This particular mango tree has the best mangoes. This particular mango tree won't even give mangoes. This particular, and this is this kind of mango. This is Angra mango. This is some other Hapus mango. This is Tasheri mango. So particularizing. Mangoes aren't all the same. So all of this is done with intelligence. We generalize, we particularize, we ascertain what is what, we realize what is what. With the intelligence. And so these are called the children of the intelligence. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Yes.
What is the difference between happiness and satisfaction?
What's the difference between happiness and satisfaction? Different words, but they go together.
Prabhupada has written, one is in mode of goodness,
Hmm?
he feels happiness.
Yeah, that kind of happiness. In the mode of goodness, he's happy with what he gets. So he's satisfied. And as far as there's happiness, that's the happiness. That yes, Krishna sent me something. Or, no, I got something. All right. Well, that happiness. Otherwise, the happiness in the mode of passion is like, it's all cinemascope and technicolor, it's drama, but it's like a roller coaster. It's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. And the ignorance, the so-called happiness, is just misery from beginning to end. So this is happiness. There's some sense of pleasure. And that's the greatest pleasure is just to be satisfied. Yes. All right. Something else? Yes.
I had a question that, first canto.
Loud. Sure, say boliye.
Maharaj, I had the question that in the first canto, the sages of China, they see that when we hear Krishna Katha, we are satisfied and we are very happy when hearing Krishna Katha. Like they wanted to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, they said that they were very happy by hearing Krishna Katha. Like the question was, like it brings happiness, Krishna Katha brings happiness and satisfaction, but then you are still not satisfied, you want to hear more. That's how they are saying it. So like, how to understand whether they are satisfied
So
or
in the first canto, devotees get happiness and pleasure and satisfaction from hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, but
they will still want to hear more. So
they want to hear more. That's called transcendental dissatisfaction. Vayam tu na vitripyama uttama shloka vikram. Yes, Srinvatam rasagyanam. That kind of greed is also appreciated. To be greedy for devotional service is very good. To be lusty is good. The gopis appeared to be lusty girls. They wanted to enjoy with this boy. But the boy was Krishna, so it's transcendental. Anger. We hear about anger in the dealings. Srimati Radharani gets angry at Krishna. This is transcendental anger. Calm, Krodh, Lord, Mada, that's there in the spiritual world. Krishna sometimes becomes so bewildered by the qualities of Srimati Radharani that he tries to milk a bull. That's mad. The gopis want to embrace tamal trees. Why do they want to embrace tamal trees? Well, because they're mad after Krishna. And so these things are there on the transcendental platform. Thinking is there, feeling is there, willing is there. There's thinking and passion, thinking and goodness, thinking and ignorance. And there's transcendental thinking. Similarly, transcendental feeling, transcendental will. As soon as it's for the satisfaction of Krishna, then it's transcendental. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Satisfaction, to be just satisfied, is in spiritual realizations sometimes condemned. It's just to be complacent. In Brihad Bhagavatam, you'll find just to be complacent. No. Active spiritual life means we want to serve Krishna more. Okay. Anything else? Yes.
You explained how the wife is actually the intelligence.
Hmm.
Prabhupada said. And then the translation Prabhupada says at that time
illusion, satisfaction, and happiness used to be produced from his wife, which is intelligence. We also hear that this illusion, satisfaction, all these things that come from the mind.
Mind and intelligence. Sometimes the mind is the whole antakarana. Whole subtle body is sometimes referred to as the mind. But here, yes, the intelligence is specifically the wife. And it's described, it's intelligence and ignorance. It's aiming at happiness here in the material world. Okay. Yes.
So, for the material happiness, the word is used that it's a product of mind, manasija. So, actually, is there the happiness as a substance is existing or not? Like, or is it
Happiness
something-
as a substance.
No, like it's completely illusion or it's
In the material world, it is. Is happiness completely illusion? In the material world, whatever happiness we're imagining is illusion. By the influence of illusion, one is embracing a bag of mucus, bile, and air, and thinking this is happiness. What happiness? What happiness is there? But he's imagining that this is so nice. Imagining the happiness of family and society and friendship and love. It's only the mind. Without the mind imagining these things. No.
so all sense enjoyment is just
Yeah,
imagination.
more or less imaginary. The man is thinking my wife is so beautiful, she gives me so much pleasure. The demigods are looking at his wife and saying, right? It's only the mind.
But sometimes it's said that there are various levels of consciousness that according to them there are levels of happiness.
Yeah, different kinds of illusion. Pig is happy eating stool. We wouldn't be very happy that way. But pig is as happy eating stool as we are eating halwa.
So in material context, the happiness which is described is just subjective to the person who is enjoying, like one of his mind only.
Yeah. If the mind is not in gear, he won't enjoy. Same thing. If he thinks this is the most beautiful girl, then he enjoys. If he thinks this is an ugly pig, then no enjoyment. Someone else picks up the ugly pig and thinks, oh, she's so nice. Then he enjoys. There is one of Shakespeare's plays, the two daughters of the king. There's a dastardly fellow. He murders the two daughters and cooks them into a pie, I think, or some dish, and feeds it to the king and his wife, to the parents of the daughters. So the king's enjoying how nice it is, till he finds out this is where it comes from. And as soon as the mind changed, the enjoyment turned to revulsion. It's the mind only. As soon as the mind loses attraction for something, that no longer gives pleasure.
But we also see, like in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord
Hmm?
Krishna. But we also see that in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is explaining Vibhuti Yoga, how his Vibhutis in this material world are derived from his own self, which are manifesting in this world. So, like beauty and other things, they are just, can't we say that they are the reflection of Krishna's?
Yeah, they're the vibhutis, beauty, vibhuti matsat, Srimad Urjitam, power, beauty, everything. They're a little reflection of the real beauty. Word Vamula Matashaka. They're perverted reflections of real beauty, real power. What, power. Napoleon was powerful. Modi is powerful. But what is his power? Death will come and won't care that he's prime minister. The power is more or less imaginary. What power? Tomorrow it'll be knocked over by the material nature. Death will come. But we're thinking that we're important men, that we're powerful, that we're happy, that we're smart, that we're well educated, that we're this, that. It's all illusion. We're poor, miserable living beings being kicked around by the modes of material nature, the actions of the diving Maya. And we're thinking we have something. On the plane I came in on yesterday, we were in Bali, Indonesia, which is the top tourist destination. It's tropical. It has all tropical fruits and beaches and this and that. It became popular actually some decades ago. Anyway, we won't go into that, but beautiful Oriental girls and all of that. People go from India also to enjoy for a week. And on the plane coming back, one of the passengers suddenly had collapsed and fell to the floor of the plane, foaming at the mouth. And the plane had to turn around and go back to Bali. Everyone is thinking enjoyment. But what is that enjoyment? At any moment, you could get so terribly sick that the plane will have to turn around and take you back. And I doubt that many of the passengers understood that. For them, well, it was a cheap flight, Indigo, so they didn't have movies, so they got their movie. But what is that happiness of Bali? You go for a week, and as the more you're enjoying, the more you're spending money. What kind of happiness is that? Exhausting your capital. They're thinking, this is enjoyment. But to enjoy, you have to suffer. You're working hard, and then you get to enjoy. But the enjoyment is wedded to the suffering. It's bonded to the suffering. Without the suffering, you don't get the enjoyment. So the whole thing is more or less mental concoction from beginning to end.
Just to follow up on that, in personalities they use this philosophy of neti, that all experiences, the happiness and distress is illusion. And we say the happiness and distress is real per se experience, but it is of the lower quality, the happiness and
No,
distress.
we don't even say it's real. The material nature is real. It's not that everything's false. There are peaches and mangoes and lychees and coconuts. We don't say that they're false, but the idea that I'm the enjoyer of all these things, that's false. It's precisely the mentality that's the false thing. Karya karana kartritve prakriti hetu uchate. Purusha sukutukanam bhoktritve hetu. The products of material nature are coming from Krishna through his external energy. And the happiness, bhoktritve, in the enjoyment, what's the cause? Not material nature, the living entity himself. Right? We're imagining. This is it. This is happiness. More or less illusory.
This is the point that the experience of coming together of sense and
The
sense.
Mayavadis, so we agree with the Mayavadis on this one. They say that material happiness is an illusion. We agree with them. We're not always in disagreement with the Mayavadis. Badrinarayan Maharaj said his father used to say even a stopped clock is right twice a day. Actually, we have so many points in which we agree with the Mayavadis. But on this point, that the absolute truth is ultimately impersonal, that the personal features of Godhead are products of illusion. And so there we can't agree. Kaivalya is only absolute, unadulterated. No, we don't agree. But regarding the falsity of material enjoyment, yes, we agree. Okay.
Because the senses are real, the objects are real, so the experience can be real, but the enjoyment is not real. Is that?
The senses are real, the sense objects are real, but the notion that we can enjoy, what is that senses? Vishyendriya samyoga yat tadagre mritopamam. In the beginning, the contact of the real senses with the real sense objects seems to create amrit. But pariname at the end, vish, poison. So what is it? Is the contact of sense and sense objects enjoyment, nectar, or is it poison? He's thinking it's nectar, but actually it's poison. Or it's neither nectar nor poison, but his illusory attempt to enjoy it, creates nectar at the beginning and poison at the end. Purusha sukutukana bhoktritve hetu. Right?
But the happiness of Sattva Gun, which Krishna is describing in 18th chapter, which is starting is the poison, and at the end it is, what happiness is that?
That's happiness in the mode of goodness. That's also material happiness. He's studying and doing all of that. And at the end, he gets some kind of knowledge. So that's happiness and goodness. It's like, I got knowledge. That's also, then he becomes satisfied. Yes, I'm a scholar. Takes pleasure in scholarly pursuits. In this way, he remains bound in the material world. Till he takes pleasure in Krishna consciousness. Even happiness in the mode of goodness will be illusory. Okay. Last question, and then, because this class has a cutoff time.
Krishna Maharaj, I was asking in the context of spiritual object. Let's say initially we derive pleasure in kirtan or prasadam, having prasadam, but we may not have the consciousness that it is prasadam. We may see it as a sense object that, okay, this is a really nice halwa. So in that case, what is that spiritually this on the same level, or it is in the material platform?
Prasadam is always spiritual. Kirtan is always spiritual. But if we're trying to be the enjoyers of the kirtan, the enjoyers of the prasadam, then we're not mature. Kirtan is not for our enjoyment, it's for Krishna's enjoyment. Prasadam is not meant to be like an ordinary experience of sense gratification. Therefore, we say honoring prasadam. There is satisfaction for the senses also, but it's something different. It's not just the same as sense gratification. Although the sense gratifier will take prasadam and he'll think this is wonderful. That's Krishna's mercy also. But if he goes on taking that prasadam, he'll come to understand that it's tasty not because of the ingredients, but because of the devotion, because of the presence of Krishna. We should stop. We can have the same kirtan again just for 3 or 5 minutes. We come to the end of the hour, and that's what we do. Want to lead again, or someone else can lead? But you can't take up time deciding. We have to do it. Go ahead, Diksha.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Om Vishnuvad Paramansa Paripurajak Acharya Shro Sri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai, Nama Acharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Vedanta Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhana Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Jamuna Mai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Thank you all very much.
Holiness Jayādvaita Swami Ki Jai.
Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande. Okay, let me just close out here. Sananda, maybe you can end the meeting. I'm on a different platform today. Oh, there it is. Okay. Goodbye. Hare Krishna.